In the news this week, is support for Australia Day slipping. Exclusive WA News polling results reveals shifting trends among Western Australians.
Also tonight, the Cook government announces new cost of living relief measures. Broken promises give you more. The Prime Minister's tax adjustments set to promise more to low and middle income earners. And later, Dr. Andrew Miller's comment.
This is The Evening News with Ivan Loom and Maliva Thorne.
Good evening. Support for Australia Day on the 26th of January is still a majority, but is slipping according to the exclusive WA News opinion poll conducted during the last 2 weeks. The question was, are you open to changing the date of Australia Day following years of debate? No, I've made up my mind has dropped to 65%, down 10%. Meanwhile, yes, I'm open to changing my mind is up by 10% to 35%. Here's Peter Candy with his analysis of the results.
The Australia Day opinion poll is introducing some interesting trends. The fact that the yes vote, preferring that Australia Day continue to be observed on January the 26th, support has dropped something like 10%, from about 75% to 65%, is significant. But also is the fact that 65% prefer the day as it is, January the 26th. So that is a significant majority. The point is that the 35% who prefer another date or don't like January the 26th, the key there is what date do they prefer? And that's the sticking point, I think, if you want to change Australia Day. So the idea of a change, fair enough, that's democracy, but there has to be consensus on the change that you go to. So the challenge for the no voters, or those who are opposed to Australia Day on January 26th, is to come up with an alternative date. Don't just say no and be negative, but give some thought to an alternative date that has wider acceptance across Australia. However, when it comes to councils and Australia Day citizenship ceremonies, Labor-oriented councils are moving around, but Liberal-oriented councils are staying where they are. And one must find it hard to disagree with Lord Mayor Basil Semplis, who says that as far as the Perth City Council is concerned, it will observe the citizenship ceremonies on Australia Day, and until the federal government decides to change the date for Australia Day, he believes that's where it should lie. An interesting debate which will continue to go on. But the opponents of the current date say it's Invasion Day. It commemorates the British invasion of Australia in 1788. But really, Captain Arthur Phillip off the Sydney coast with 1,100 convicts who've just spent a couple of months sailing across the world, was that really an invasion, or were they looking for somewhere to dump the convicts as a penal colony? That's the debate. Peter Kennedy, WAMN News.
The Cook government has announced another round of cost of living measures with free bus and train rides for school children. It's the first relief measure by Premier Cook for 2024 as the federal government announces changes to tax cuts.
We're making free public transport free for all students, Monday to Friday when they're travelling to and from school for the entire school year. That means school kids can ride the bus, the train, to and from school free every day, every school day this year. For a family with 2 kids using public transport to get to and from school, that delivers a saving of more than $500 each year. So this measure will be welcome relief for those families struggling with their household budgets. We will be making public transport free every Sunday for every Western Australian. It means families from suburbs can get in, out and about all day Sundays, regardless of which Sunday of the month it is, to continue to explore everything that we have in Western Australia, but above all, cut the costs of transport for the family. It'll help WA families and will continue to support local small businesses, particularly those in the cities.
For 3 years, we've been calling for better support for struggling Western Australians. The WA Liberals introduced a policy for free public transport for students at the 2021 election. While the Cook Labor government continue to bank billions of dollars in surpluses, it's only appropriate they better support struggling Western Australians. We support any measure to take the pressure off struggling Western Australians. 400,000 households are struggling to put food on the table at a time when the Cook Labor government are enjoying the largest boom in WA's history. The Liberals and the opposition have been calling on the WA Labor government to better support families for some time. We support any measure that does this.
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has broken a major promise of not changing the Stage 3 tax cuts. Although it gives the opposition an opportunity to attack the government on the issue of trust, most Australians will get more tax refund under the adjustment, but bracket creep won't be fixed. Paige Reid reports.
Many gathered this week for the National Press Club in Canberra, where Prime Minister Albanese announced there will be proposed changes to the tax cut this year.
Today I announce that from the 1st of July this year, our government will deliver a tax cut for every single Australian taxpayer.
This new tax cut means middle-income families will receive more back on their tax, lending assistance to the rising cost of living.
Yes, low and middle-income earners need this money, that's the point. So they're likely to not put it in the bank, they're likely to buy things that they need.
This comes after the Prime Minister repeatedly said that tax cuts wouldn't change. This has led to people now questioning whether or not they can trust the government. Other members of the Labor government have said they support the Prime Minister's decisions. In WA, State Housing Minister John Carey says he supports the decisions the federal government have made.
I'm not going to knock, and neither is the state government going to knock, any measures that provide further cost of living relief for West Australians, building on all the range of measures that we've introduced.
The Prime Minister says that even though he went back on his promise, West Australians can still trust him to do the right thing and for the right reasons. Paige Reid, WAMN News.
More than 300 newly minted citizens pledged their loyalty on Australia Day in the city of Joondalup, where the largest ceremony was held in the nation. Hundreds of people gathered at the Joondalup Golf Club Resort to celebrate Australia Day, with new citizens bringing families and friends to witness the occasion. Premier Roger Cook acknowledged and praised the Joondalup area for its multiculturalism following the ceremony. He said the number of people swearing in on the day reflected Australia's multicultural backgrounds.
We are obviously delighted to be able to welcome our newest Australians to Australia today.
Meanwhile, thousands gathered in the city for the Invasion Day rally, demanding change to the date. First Nations demonstrators also demanded better health, education, community support and prevention of deaths in custody.
The Australian Arab Association hosted its Australia Day barbecue and community celebrations in Thornlie this week. Close to 100 residents in the area came to Glenbrook Park to participate in an afternoon of community performances, food and bouncy castles for children. Multicultural performances including pipe bands, drums and music were featured on stage to entertain the attendees. The association's community director, Hussein Maroof, says the event's goal is to unite the community and show appreciation for the Australian home country.
It's a way of bringing the community together, that everyone gets to join for the day, and it's about appreciation of the country that we live in.
Western Australians will soon benefit from a new $484,000 diesel-powered jet boat delivered to the WA Police Force and funded by the Cook government. Stationed in Mandurah, the vessel boosts the Peel Water Police's capabilities, enabling faster responses to incidents along the coastline. Powered by a 215-kilowatt six-cylinder Stair engine, the craft can reach speeds exceeding 30 knots, thanks to its Hamilton jet propulsion system. It also features advanced electronics for navigation, radio communication and safety. This marks the second such addition to the WA Police Force's assets, designed with a folding front door for swift rescue operations.
And now here's Dr. Andrew Miller with his weekly medical and news commentary.
Hi, thanks for your time and happy Australia Day long weekend. Hope you've been enjoying some time with the family and not having to work too much. It's a time to reflect, I think, on not just the fact that we are lucky, but what is it about us that makes us so lucky, and what can we do to improve things to ensure that those who are missing out are also enjoying the benefits of everything that this great nation has to offer. Now, We know that working hard is really important, that looking after people is really important, and we know that we need to provide government services for people so that those who are less fortunate are not left too far behind, not only because that's just the right thing to do for them, but also it makes a better world for the rest of us to live in if we can sleep at night knowing that we're looking after our elderly, that we're looking after our unemployed properly, that we're looking after people with disability properly, and that we are ensuring that First Nations people are getting the treatment they need and treated with the respect that they deserve. And that we're learning also from their long-standing culture, their sustainable culture, the most sustainable culture in history. So I think that we need to go past the step where we just say how lucky we are, and we need to leave this a better place for our kids going forward. So in terms of sustainable solutions to climate change, in terms of sustainable solutions to healthcare problems, we need politicians and leaders who are going to listen and who are going to care about people who can't always stand up for themselves. So I think that's the thing that I'm trying to get my family to focus on as we reflect on what it is to be Australian and to be so lucky to be living here. Not many people around the world have the benefits that we do. And I think that we deserve to be a bit humble about that, and to acknowledge that there's always something we can do better for other people. Thanks very much for your time.
Thanks, Doctor. Ivan, I like your tie. Can you tell me where you got it from?
Of course, I got it during the Australia Day citizenship ceremony in Joondalup. In fact, it's the largest citizenship ceremony in Australia. And of course, I want to give a big shout out to the First Nations people who gave me this tie.
And now here's Austin with what's coming up on 6 News tonight.
Cheers guys, the top stories we're following on 6 News right now. The ICJ has ordered Israel to prevent genocidal acts in Gaza, but stopped short of calling for a ceasefire. Australia has temporarily paused disbursement of recent funding to United Nations Palestine Refugee Agency, UNRWA, after allegations staff were involved in the October 7 attacks on Israel. And the ACT's first Gen Z MP has spoken to 6 News about representing young people in Parliament and the formation of a new Gen Z party. All those stories and more. Remember, 6 News is on the hour every hour, and you can watch live on our YouTube channel. For now though, it's back to you.
Thanks, Austin. And that's our weekly news and current affairs. You can catch up with the latest news on our website, wamnnews.com.au.
Remember to subscribe to the WAMN Extra News Club so we can continue our work in the community. Full details on wamnnews.com.au/news/extra. From Melly and myself, wish you good health, good night. See you next Sunday.
Thanks for watching.